Where you find yourself this Valentine's Day, you belong there, and you won't be there forever. Why breakups and divorce spike around this holiday. Let's go deeper into the psychology of why so many relationships reach their breaking point around this time of year. Welcome to the Conscious Divorce Podcast, where we explore divorce not as an ending, but as a transformative opportunity to reclaim your life, reboot your identity, and become the person you are always meant to be. Hi, I'm Justin Milrad, certified divorce coach, MBA, relationship coach, and financial planner, as well as founder of Reclaim and Reboot Divorce Coaching, and author of You 2.0, A Better Way Forward. But before we dive in, my standard disclaimer. I'm a certified divorce coach, not an attorney, therapist, or financial advisor. Nothing in this podcast constitutes legal, therapeutic, or financial advice. The information shared here is educational and based on research, professional experience, and my own journey through divorce. Always consult with a licensed professional for advice specific to your situation. Now let's get into today's episode. Today's episode is called Roses, Reality, and Ruptures. Why Valentine's Day breaks some hearts and frees others. And I want to be honest with you right from the start. This isn't a Hallmark episode. This isn't about how to find love again or to make February 14th magical. This is about something much more important. This is about what Valentine's Day actually does to people who are struggling, what it reveals, what it accelerates, and how you can use it as information rather than allowing it to use you. Whether you're dreading this holiday, whether you're relieved that your old life is behind you, or whether you're somewhere in the complicated middle ground, this episode is for you. Let's begin. Valentine's Day is the Super Bowl of expectations. Think about that for a second. The Super Bowl, the biggest, most watched, most hyped single day event in American sports. Months of buildup, millions of dollars in advertising, everyone talking about it, everyone watching it, everyone with opinions about how it should go. That's Valentine's Day for relationships. Some people celebrate, the flowers arrive, the dinner reservations are perfect, the evening unfolds exactly like the commercials promised. For them, February 14th is confirmation, a moment of connection, a day that feels earned. Some people implode. The expectations crash into reality, and the gap between what they hoped for and what they got becomes impossible to ignore. The fight that starts over restaurant choice becomes about something much deeper. The forgotten card becomes evidence that something's been building for months or years. Then there are the people who wake up February 15th and realize something they've been avoiding, something they've been pushing down since last Valentine's Day, or the one before that. They look at the wilting flowers or the empty space where flowers should have been, and they finally admit what they've known in their bones for a long time. This isn't working. This hasn't been working. And pretending through one more holiday isn't going to change that. I want to speak directly to a few groups of people right now. If you're in a strained relationship and you're dreading this holiday because you know it's going to expose something you've been trying to hide, I see you. That anxiety you're feeling isn't crazy. It's your nervous system telling you that something is misaligned, and that's information worth paying attention to. If you've recently divorced or separated and this is your first Valentine's Day alone, or maybe your second or third, and it still stings, I see you. The grocery store aisles filled with red and pink feel like a personal attack right now. Every jewelry commercial feels like it was designed specifically to remind you of what you've lost. That's real. The pain is real. If you're feeling something more complicated, like relief mixed with guilt, like freedom mixed with fear, like you're simultaneously grateful this chapter is over and terrified about what comes next, I especially see you. Because that complicated emotional cocktail is one of the most and least talked about experiences in divorce. You're not broken. You're feeling multiple things at once. You're human. If you're someone who feels behind today, defective somehow, like everyone else figured out this loving thing and you're the only one who couldn't make it work, I need you to hear me clearly. You're not behind. You're not defective. You're in a season of life that happens to millions of people, and a holiday built on commercial expectations that does not get you to define your worth. Valentine's Day is going to happen whether you're ready for it or not. My goal in this episode is to help you understand what's actually happening during this time, normalize whatever you're feeling, and give you practical tools to move through it with your dignity and clarity intact. Why Valentine's Day is an emotional accelerator. Here's something important to understand. Valentine's Day doesn't create problems in relationships. It reveals them. It's an accelerant, not a cause. Think of it like this. If you have a small crack in a dam, water will eventually find it. But if you suddenly increase the water pressure, that crack becomes visible much faster. Valentine's Day is the pressure increase, the crack that was already there. Let me explain what I mean by expectation inflation. From the moment January ends, we are bombarded with messages about what February 14th should look like. The commercials, the social media posts, the restaurant promos, the jewelry store campaigns that suggest if he really loved you, he'd spend 2 months' salary on a ring. And all of this creates what psychologists call a comparison standard, an internalized benchmark of what a loving relationship should look like on the specific day. And here's the problem. That benchmark is built on fantasy. It's built on advertising. It's built on the highlight reel other people post online while hiding their own struggles. So when your actual relationship, with its actual imperfections and its actual history and its actual human messiness, fails to meet this artificially inflated standard, it doesn't just feel disappointing. It feels like evidence. Evidence that something is wrong. Evidence that you're not loved enough. Evidence that everyone else has what you don't. But here's what's really happening. People perform what I call an emotional audit around Valentine's Day. Whether they realize it or not, they're taking inventory. They're asking themselves questions like, am I happy? Do I feel seen? Do I feel valued? Is this relationship going somewhere? Is this the person I want to be with next Valentine's Day, in 5 years, in 20? These are important questions. They're the right questions to ask, but most people don't ask them on a random Tuesday in August. They ask them when the calendar and the culture force them to look at it directly at their relationships. And when the answers to those questions are disappointing, the pain is amplified because of the symbolic weight of the day. An unmet expectation on any other day is just a bad day. An unmet expectation on Valentine's Day feels like proof. Let me share some research that might help contextualize what you're experiencing or what you've seen in others. Studies have shown that couples in already weakened relationships are significantly more likely to break up in the 2-week window around February 14th. We're talking nearly 5 times more likely than during other periods. That's not because Valentine's Day is inherently destructive. It's because Valentine's Day creates a moment of forced reckoning that many struggling couples have been avoiding. Divorce attorneys report a consistent spike in consultations and inquiries immediately following Valentine's Day, not during, after. People endure the holiday, see what they see, feel what they feel, and then pick up the phone. The timing isn't accidental. February sits right in the middle of what family law professionals call divorce season. January is widely known as divorce month, with filings surging in the first weeks of the new year after people push through the November and December holidays. They told themselves, I'll get through Thanksgiving, I'll get through Christmas, I'll get through New Year's, and then January arrives. The holidays are over, and the truth that was waiting patiently finally gets its turn. Valentine's Day extends that window. It's one more checkpoint, one more test, one more opportunity for a struggling relationship to either find renewed commitment or reach its breaking point. If you've ever wondered why February feels so emotionally charged, this is why. It's not in your head, it's a documented pattern. And understanding that pattern can help you make sense of what you're experiencing. 3 Valentine's Day experiences. I want to give you a framework for thinking about where you might land this Valentine's Day. I call it the 3 camps, and most people fall into one of them, at least for this particular year. Camp 1, the celebration camp. This is the group that Valentine's Day was designed for. Couples who are genuinely connected, who enjoy the ritual of the holiday, who exchange gifts and have dinner and feel grateful for each other. For them, February 14th is a pleasant marker on the calendar, a chance to pause from normal life and acknowledge what they've built together. If you're in this camp, wonderful. Enjoy it. Don't take it for granted. And have some compassion for people who aren't where you are right now, because you might have been in their position before, or you might be there someday. Life has a way of humbling all of us eventually. Camp 2, the disappointment camp. This is a much larger group than the holiday would have you believe. These are people who are still in relationships, but who feel the gap between expectations and reality most acutely on this day. The partner who forgot until the last minute, the dinner that turned into an argument, the gift that felt obligatory rather than thoughtful. The evenings spent silently wondering if this is really all there is. If you're in this camp, I want you to know something. Disappointment is data. It's not drama. It's information about what you need, what you're not getting, and what conversations you might need to have. A disappointing Valentine's Day doesn't mean your relationship is over. It means there's a gap that needs attention. What you do with that information is up to you. Camp 3, the Aftermath Camp. This is where many of my clients and listeners find themselves. These are people who are navigating Valentine's Day from the other side of a relationship. Recently separated, newly divorced, sometimes years past the end of a marriage, but still feeling the weight of this particular day. The Aftermath Camp is complicated because it contains multitudes. Some people in this camp are grieving deeply. The empty chair at the table, the memory of Valentine's Day past when things were still hopeful, the loneliness that feels more acute when the whole world seems to be paired off. Others in this camp are relieved. They're grateful they are no longer pretending. They're glad they don't have to perform happiness for a holiday that always felt hollow in their old relationship. But that relief often comes with guilt. Am I supposed to feel this unbothered? What does it say about me that I'm not more sad? And many people in this camp feel both things simultaneously: grief and relief, loss and liberation, sadness and hope, all swirling together in ways that are hard to name and even harder to explain to others. Here's what I want you to understand about these three camps. None of them defines your worth. None of them predicts your future. None of them is permanent. You might be in the celebration camp this year and the disappointment camp next year. You might be in the aftermath camp now and find yourself in a completely different place 12 months from now. These are seasons, not sentences. The goal isn't to force yourself into a particular camp. The goal is to honestly assess where you are and to respond to that reality with clarity and self-compassion. Where you find yourself this Valentine's Day, you belong there and you won't be there forever. Why breakups and divorce spike around this holiday. Let's go deeper into the psychology of why so many relationships reach their breaking point around this time of year. The first factor is cognitive dissonance. This is a psychological discomfort that occurs when you hold two conflicting beliefs at the same time. For example, I love my partner and I am deeply unhappy in this relationship. Those two ideas create tension. Your brain doesn't like holding them both, so it looks for ways to resolve conflict. For months or even years, people manage the dissonance through avoidance, denial, or rationalization. They tell themselves things like, every relationship has problems. Maybe it will get better. At least we're stable. We have kids. We have history. We've invested so much. But Valentine's Day puts pressure on those rationalizations. When you're sitting across from someone at a romantic dinner and you feel nothing, or worse, you feel dread, it becomes much harder to maintain the story that everything is fine. The second factor is what behavioral economists call deadline effects. Humans are procrastinators by nature. We put off difficult decisions, especially emotionally painful ones, until we have no choice but to face them. Deadlines force action. Valentine's Day functions as an unofficial deadline for relationship evaluation. The cultural pressures to demonstrate love and commitment creates a moment of forced assessment. And for people who've been delaying a difficult decision, that deadline can finally tip them into action. The third factor is symbolic closure. Humans are meaning-making creatures. We don't just experience events, we interpret them. We look for significance. We want our major life decisions to align with meaningful moments. Ending a relationship after Valentine's Day carries a kind of narrative logic. It allows people to tell themselves and others a coherent story. We tried. We made it through one more holiday. We gave it every chance, and it still isn't working. This is why so many people say some version of, I'll get through one more holiday before making a decision about the relationship. They push through Thanksgiving, then Christmas, then New Year's, then Valentine's Day. Each holiday becomes a checkpoint, a test, a chance for things to magically improve. And when they don't improve, when Valentine's Day arrives and nothing is fundamentally changed, the accumulated disappointments finally reach critical mass. Here's a line I want you to remember from this section. People do not end relationships because Valentine's Day was bad. They end them because Valentine's Day made the truth undeniable. The bad dinner wasn't the problem. The forgotten gift wasn't the problem. The awkward silence wasn't the problem. Those were just the moments when the underlying truth, the truth that had been building for months or years, finally became impossible to ignore. If Valentine's Day is showing you something you don't want to see, that's not the holiday's fault. That's the holiday doing its unintentional job of holding up a mirror to your actual life. How to survive Valentine's Day if you're single, separated, or divorced. All right, let's get practical. If you're navigating this holiday from outside a relationship, here are the principles I want you to carry with you. Principle 1, opt out of comparison culture. This is the most important thing I can tell you. You have permission not to participate. You don't have to scroll through Instagram looking at engagement announcements and couples' photos. You don't have to watch romantic comedies. You don't have to read the article about how to find love or what single people are supposedly missing. Comparison is a thief. It steals your peace by measuring your actual life against someone else's curated highlight reel. And on Valentine's Day, the highlight reels are often in overdrive. So opt out. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about where you are. Mute the hashtags, skip the romantic movie your friends are watching. Create a bubble of sanity around yourself for these few days. This isn't avoidance, it's boundaries. It's recognizing that you're in a vulnerable season and protecting yourself from unnecessary pain. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Principle 2, separate grief from identity. This is crucial. You can grieve the loss of a relationship without making that loss mean something about who you are as a person. Grief says, I'm sad that this didn't work out. I miss what I thought we had. I'm mourning the future I imagined. Identity says, I'm sad because I'm unlovable. This didn't work out because something is wrong with me. I'll never find what I'm looking for. Feel the grief. Grief is healthy. Grief is necessary. Grief moves through you when you let it. But don't let grief write your identity. Don't let one chapter of your life define the whole story. You are not your relationship status. You are not your divorce. You are the whole human being in the middle of a transition, and transitions are temporary by definition. Principle 3, redefine the day intentionally. You get to decide what February 14th means to you. Hallmark doesn't get to decide. Instagram doesn't get to decide. Your ex doesn't get to decide. Maybe Valentine's Day becomes a day you celebrate the friendships that held you together during your hardest season. Maybe it becomes a day you take yourself somewhere nice, not as consolation, but as genuine self-appreciation. Maybe it becomes a completely ordinary day where you do completely ordinary things because you've decided this particular holiday doesn't require any special attention from you. I know people who use Valentine's Day as an annual checkpoint for their personal growth, not their romantic life, their personal growth. They ask themselves, where was I last February 14th? Where am I now? What have I learned? What have I overcome? That's a reframe. That's taking a holiday that was hurting you and turning it into something useful. Principle 4, do not text your ex. I say this with all the love and directness I can muster. Do not text your ex. I know the loneliness gets louder on Valentine's Day. The memories get shinier. The temptation to reach out just to feel connected to something familiar can be overwhelming. But here's what usually happens. You send a text that feels vulnerable and brave in the moment. Your ex either doesn't respond, which makes you feel worse, or they do respond, which opens up wounds you were starting to heal. Or you end up in a conversation that goes nowhere, that changes nothing, that just reminds you why the relationship ended in the first place. Your ex is not the solution to your Valentine's Day loneliness. Time, healing, and building a life you're proud of are the solutions. The text you want to send right now will not help you get there faster. If you need to say something, write it in a journal. Write it in the Notes app on your phone. Write it and then delete it. Get it out of your system without sending it to theirs. Principle 5, use the day as data, not drama. Whatever you feel on Valentine's Day, treat it as information rather than letting it sweep you into an emotional spiral. If you feel sad, that's data. It tells you that you're still grieving, which is normal and healthy. If you feel lonely, that's data. It tells you that connection is important to you and something to nurture going forward. If you feel relieved, that's data. It tells you that leaving was the right decision even when it was hard. If you feel angry, that's data. It tells you there might be unprocessed hurt that needs attention. None of these feelings are emergencies. None of them require immediate action. They're just data points in your ongoing journey of understanding yourself and rebuilding your life. The goal isn't to feel nothing. The goal is to feel what you feel without letting these feelings make decisions for you. Experience the emotion, name it, learn from it, and then make choices from a place of calm rather than reactivity. Valentine's Day and co-parenting. For those of you who are navigating this holiday as co-parents, I want to spend some time specifically with you. because Valentine's Day adds an extra layer of complexity when children are involved. First principle, keep adult pain out of children's experiences. Your children should not become the emotional support system for your struggles with this holiday. They should not hear you complaining about your ex's new relationship. They should not sense your sadness and feel responsible for cheering you up. They should not be put in the middle of any tension between you and your co-parent about Valentine's Day plans or gifts. I know this is hard. Your kids are right there. They're the people you're closest to. It's natural to want to share what you're feeling, but they're not equipped to hold adult grief, and it's not their job to do so. Find the outlets, your friends, your therapists, your coach, your journal, but protect your children from carrying the weight of your emotional experience with this holiday. Second principle, avoid gift competition. This is a trap that many divorced parents fall into. One parent gives an elaborate Valentine's Day gift. The other parent feels pressured to match or exceed it. Before long, the holiday becomes another arena for unresolved conflict of the marriage. Your children don't need bigger gifts. They need consistent love. They need parents who are emotionally regulated. They need to know that both homes are safe places. A card made from construction paper with genuine affection is worth more than an expensive gift given as a competitive move. Talk to your co-parent in advance if you can. Agree on reasonable boundaries. And if your co-parent won't have that conversation, then hold your own boundaries anyways. You can't control what happens at the other house. You can only control what happens in yours. Third principle, model emotional regulation. Your children are watching how you handle difficult days. They're learning from you what it means to navigate complicated emotions. If Valentine's Day is hard for you, you don't have to pretend it's not, but you can show them what healthy coping looks like. You can say in age-appropriate ways that today feels a little sad for you, but that you're okay and you're taking care of yourself. This is actually a gift. You're teaching them that difficult emotions don't have to be hidden or suppressed. You're teaching them that adults can feel hard things and still function. You're teaching them that sadness doesn't mean something is broken. Fourth principle, children need steadiness, not perfection. You don't have to make Valentine's Day magical for your kids. You really don't. What they need is a parent who is present, stable, and emotionally available, not a parent who is stressed out trying to create an Instagram-worthy holiday experience while falling apart inside. A quiet Valentine's Day with a parent who is actually engaged is worth more than an elaborate event with a parent who is emotionally absent. Let go of the pressure to compensate for the divorce with holiday performance. Your kids didn't lose Valentine's Day in the divorce. They might have different experiences now in different homes, but it's not a loss that requires extravagant making up. Give them what matters, your attention, your calm, your love. That's enough. That's always been enough. The reframe. Before we close, I want to offer you a reframe for how to think about this holiday going forward, because the meaning you assign to Valentine's Day matters. It shapes your experience. It determines whether the day wounds you or informs you. Valentine's Day is a mirror, not a measure. Let me explain what I mean by that. A measure is something that determines your value, a test you will pass or fail, a score that ranks you against others. If Valentine's Day is a measure, then you're only as good as your relationship status on February 14th, which is absurd. A mirror is different. A mirror shows you what's there. It doesn't judge, it just reflects. You look in a mirror to see yourself clearly, to notice things you might have missed, to check if something needs attention. When Valentine's Day is a mirror, it shows you where you are. Are you grieving, healing, hopeful, stuck, relieved, anxious? The mirror doesn't say whether those things are good or bad. It just shows you the truth. And truth, even uncomfortable truth, is useful. You can work with truth. You can make decisions based on truth. You can't do anything productive with denial or self-deception. Valentine's Day is information, not judgment. Whatever happens on this day, whatever you feel, treat it as information about your current state, not as a verdict of your worth or your future. The loneliness you feel is information about your need for connection. The relief you feel is information about the rightness of your decision to leave. The sadness you feel is information about the grief still moving through you. The indifference you feel is information about how far you've come in your healing. None of this information is permanent. It's a snapshot of where you are right now, in this moment, in this season. A year from now, the information will be different. 5 years from now, this particular Valentine's Day will be a distant memory in a much larger story. Valentine's Day is a data point in personal growth. I talk a lot about the U 2.0 concept, the idea that divorce, as painful as it is, creates an opportunity to rebuild yourself intentionally, to become a version of yourself that's more aligned with who you actually want to be. Valentine's Day can be a data point in that journey, a checkpoint where you assess your progress, not compared to others, compared to yourself. Where were you last Valentine's Day? Where are you now? What inner work have you done? What boundaries have you established? What patterns have you broken? What self awareness have you gained? That's the question that matters. Not, do I have a date this year? But am I becoming someone I respect? Am I building a life I'm proud of? Am I healing in real ways? If the answer to those questions is yes, even a little bit, then you're on the right path. And no holiday, no matter how commercially saturated with romantic expectations, gets you to tell you otherwise. I want to leave you with some final thoughts as this episode ends. If you're in pain today, or if you will be in pain on February 14th, I want you to know that pain doesn't mean you're broken. Pain means you've cared about something. Pain means you hoped for something. Pain means you're human and you've had the courage to love, even though loving always carries a risk of loss. That's not a flaw. That's evidence that you're actually fully alive. The goal isn't to feel pain. The goal is to feel pain without letting it define you, to hold it alongside hope, to know that this season will pass and something else will emerge. If you're feeling relief and maybe some guilt alongside that relief, I want you to know that relief does not mean failure. Relief means you made a difficult decision and your body is finally exhaling. Relief means you're no longer pretending. Relief means the hard part of ending is over and the hard part of building something new is beginning. You didn't fail because your relationship ended. Relationships end for all kinds of reasons, and many of those reasons have nothing to do with failure. Sometimes endings are the most honest, brave, and healthy choice a person can make. If you're relieved that you made that choice, you're allowed to feel that way without apology. And if your life is quiet right now, if this Valentine's Day will pass without flowers or dinner reservations or grand romantic gestures, I want you to know that the quiet doesn't mean love is gone forever. Quiet is a season, a pause, a reset. Some of the most important growth happens in quiet seasons. Some of the deepest healing happens when life slows down enough to let you actually feel what you need to feel and think what you need to think. Love is not gone from your life. It's waiting in friendships, in family, in the kindness of your strangers, in your kids. And yes, potentially in a future romantic partnership that you can't see right now because you're not there yet. The quiet is not permanent, but when you're in it, let it do its work. Let it restore you. Let it teach you. Let it prepare you for whatever comes next. Here's my challenge to you. However Valentine's Day lands for you this year, use it as an opportunity for self-leadership. Don't let the holiday happen to you, happen to the holiday. Decide in advance how you want to feel. Set boundaries around what you consume. Plan activities that fill you up rather than deplete you. Reach out to people who genuinely care about you. And if that day gets hard anyways, because sometimes it just does, have a plan for that too. You're more powerful than just a calendar date. You're more valuable than your relationship status. You are writing a story that is so much larger than any single holiday. Valentine's Day will come and go, and you will still be here, still healing, still growing, still becoming the next version of yourself. That's what matters, not the roses, not the reality check, not even the ruptures. What matters is who you're becoming on the other side. Thank you for spending this time with me today on the Conscious Divorce Podcast. If this episode resonated with you and you're looking for support as you navigate your divorce or separation, I invite you to learn more about my practice, Reclaim and Reboot Divorce Coaching. I work with individuals who are ready to transform their divorce from a breakdown into a breakthrough, helping you reclaim your power, reboot your life, and become you 2.0. My book, You 2.0, Divorce: A Better Way Forward, offers a comprehensive roadmap for navigating divorce with intention and purpose. And the You 2.0 workbook provides practical exercises and tools to help you do the deep work of transformation. Both are available on Amazon.com. If you're ready to explore what working together might look like, visit my website at www.reclaimandreboot.me and schedule a free 30-minute consultation. No pressure, no obligation, just a conversation about where you are and where you want to go. If you found value in this episode, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss future episodes. Remember, your divorce is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of you 2.0. Until next time, take care of yourself.